evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What's going on, Ms. Washington? How are you today?
I'm well. How are you and everyone else?
I'm doing all right.
Are you back in the classroom? Are you back in the building?
Unfortunately, I'm in my office now. I would have gone home, but I had to get a work. I got to get a workout in, so
Good for you.
I worked out before this meeting.
Good for you.
So I'm trying to be like Reginald Johnson. He doesn't know it, but I see him every morning walking up MLK. I'm gonna have to get on him because he got that old school windbreaker that he be rocking, man. That black and that red, man.
But you see me what?
Man, at first I didn't know it was you.
Uh-huh.
Man, that brother looked familiar. I saw you the next morning, and I was like, okay, that's Reggie right there. I know. So the next time when you hear a horn, you know it's me.
Okay, all right.
if you hear a horn, you know it's me.
All right.
You be on the move. You be on the move.
Yeah, I do. Trying to get it in.
What's going on, Brian?
How's it going? How you doing?
Doing well. Can't complain.
Same. Fully vaccinated now, so I feel like a superhero in some ways. So
Absolutely. Let's see. Richard, how are you? Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad everybody's doing well. Just I guess we need to wait for a few more before we get quorum because I don't think we have it yet.
Yeah, we have 8, Mr. Chair. We have 8 so far.
We need
That's quorum.
quorum. All right. Well, I will give folks another minute. My line number is 4. It's 603. We started 604. It's 604. All right. Well, I will now call this meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. I hope that those who are in the Zoom world with me are doing well, and those who are hopefully watching us on YouTube are doing well. And welcome to the Citizens Advisory Committee and a monthly meeting for April. Mr. Washington, as far as calling roll call, I know I did get a email from Mr. Newman saying that he would not be able to make it today. So we can proceed with roll when you're ready. Or it's already registered already, but
I'm sorry, I didn't hear everything you said. You said you got a call from Mr. Newman.
Yeah, Mr. Newman, Carl emailed me and said that he would not be able to attend today. So I guess we could still do the roll, even though the roll is already kind of helps us out with the Zoom, but it's always good to do the roll.
Okay. Let's start here. Dr. Brian Lamos.
here.
Durham. Dr. Monique Hosley Hyman.
Here.
Carl Newman, you said was absent. Sue's absent. Jillian Riley. Adam Sada.
Yes, I'm here.
Richard Lebanet.
I'm here.
And am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
It's LeBennett.
Lebanet. Okay.
That's
Thank you.
correct. No
Sorry
problem.
about that. I'll make sure
No.
it's right the next time.
Actually, thank you for asking. I should have said something. Thank you.
Ebony West. Michelle Ketchum. Ashley Robbins.
Here.
Rachel Eberhard,
Here.
Alicia Smith Freshwater, and Karish Romanian. And I think he's told me how to another name he prefers, and I didn't note it here. And Levon Barnes.
I'm present and accounted for. Alrighty. And it does seem that we have quorum. The second action item will be to not only approve January 2021's minutes, but also February 2021's minutes. Hopefully everybody has seen both minutes, sets of minutes. And I will take a motion to adopt those minutes.
Motion to adopt the minutes. This is Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley. I get a second.
I'll second only comment, Dr. Hyman.
It's been seconded by Dr. Hyman. Any discussion about the minutes? Any clarifications or corrections that needed to be done to the minutes? I think that we did that last month, but at least for January's minutes. And February's minutes. So if there are no corrections or objections to the minutes, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of adopting both January 2021 and February 2021's minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There are no, so we will thank you for adopting the minutes. I will move on to action item number 3, which me and Mr. Johnson will kind of do this one together. But we finally have had our first 2 meetings of the Affordable Housing Implementation Committee. For the longest time, we were actually waiting for a resident of DHA Housing to become a member of the committee, and that's kind of what has delayed the start of that committee. But we're now kind of in full swing. The first meeting that we had was primarily just an introduction of everybody. Mayor Schul spoke, Mr. Johnson spoke, Karen Lito spoke, I think. And Scott and DHA were represented, and they spoke as well, just kind of giving us an overview of, you know, where we stand with the bond, where we stand with construction and the different phases. And I know that Mr. Johnson can go further into detail on that. I did express within the one meeting, the second meeting that we had, it was, Mr. Johnson can correct me, that there is a company that we're using to create the website for updates, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. It's kind of more like the public liaison between the I guess with the city and the public, or I kind of got confused on that. You could break that down, but I did truly stress to the board, to the fellow committee members, and to staff, and especially Mr. Scott, that we must keep in mind that, you know, I understand that this is the Affordable Housing Implementation Committee, but a lot of the projects that we're trying to do in a lot of the housing is going to require employment from those who are going to receive it. And that we keep that also in focus, that it's nice to have a home, but if you don't have a job to pay for the home, it means nothing. And to help folks get out of transitional or generational poverty, I can see that some of the projects, or some of the way it's being constructed, that in my mind, I can see folks creating that into another whole, you know, DHA. We're just moving from a older DHA to a newer DHA housing and folks just being comfortable. And so I really stress that, and I will continue to have that lens of that we must think about not just the housing, but the employment of people and making sure that folks are going to be able to be employed in those areas where they will reside. So, Mr. Johnson, I will pass it off to you for a little bit more detail into what also.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so what I'll just share with the Affordable Housing Implementation Committee, I and other community development department staff members, staff the committee. One thing that I will point out to you, and didn't talk about this with Matt, so I'm going to try. Matt, do I have the capability to share my screen?
I can give that to you. Just give me a second.
All right.
You should have it, Reginald.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sharing my screen right now. This is under the Community Development Department webpage on the City of Durham's website. And if you go to Affordable Housing Bond, and you can go to Affordable Housing Implementation Committee, you will have on that website every meeting and have the agenda, all of the presentations that were made before the committee at that meeting, as well as the minutes from the meeting. There have only been 2 meetings thus far. And one of the goals is to present the committee with updates on information as it relates to what progress we've made thus far. I think I've shared with you that I had a presentation before the City Council to also share a similar presentation. And so the next meeting is May the 6th. You should have received invites for the meeting so you can attend if you so desire. But I wanted to make sure that you know that the information is here on the website, as well as, and I'm going to scroll back. What Mr. Chair was talking about was that the city engaged a firm, Moss and Ross and French West Vaughn, 2 public relations and advertising firms, to help us design a communication plan. I think they talked with, it's about 30 people, and residents of DHA, community leaders, organizations, just a range of people to get input, and they design this communications plan. Communications plan is also on the website, and the Affordable Housing Investment Program is going to be called Forever Home Durham. You may hear me talk about elements of it on City Life that's been running for this month, but this is the plan that's on the website and that we will be operating on. And one is the branding. There was a need from the community perspective and the feedback that was received that we needed to brand it in a way that could be received and understood. And it's no other than just the $95 million bond. It is $160 million, including the bond, as well as federal and local dollars that are going to be spent over the next several years as we work to complete the goals of the bond referendum and affordable housing plan. So I just wanted to bring your attention to that also on the website. Also, one of the things that, and this is what the chair was talking about, was that there will be hopefully this is April, by the end of May, definitely in June, a separate website for Forever Home Durham. It will have its own website with its own information in terms of what the progress toward the accomplishment all the goals are. And so we will let you know when that website has been released, but it'll be regularly updated so that persons can keep progress and know the types of information that people are asking questions about. One of the things that the chair talked about is the desire and focal point about the relationship with jobs and affordable housing, and that is true. One of the things that we have to keep in mind, as I've shared with the committee before, that there are 2 things, despite all of the money we spend, $160 million, all of the local dollars that we put in, as well as the largest affordable housing bond in the state of North Carolina that we passed. No matter how much money we have to spend to create additional affordable housing, preserve the affordable housing that we have, two things that impact affordable housing and its creation more than the money we put in. One of them is the jobs and the economy. The other is zoning. So I just want everyone to be clear on that. There are people, residents that I've had communications with and talked and, kind of think that because we passed the bond referendum, it's going to solve all of our affordable housing challenges, and it won't. It's just a fraction, but we're working diligent to make sure to create additional opportunities. And especially in a tough economy, our economy is tough, but is actually, poised to get better. And as you heard from the announcement today, it's going to get a little bit tighter. I mean, there are downsides and upsides to when, Apple announces that they're coming to the region, or Google announces that they're coming to the region. It has a direct impact on affordable housing. And people wonder why all the apartments are being built. Well, we have kind of have an answer. So, but the important piece is in terms of the work that the Affordable Housing Implementation Committee is doing. Here it is on the website. Please feel to review. I've talked with the chair and he'll be giving you updates periodically, and we'll be, periodically have updates on the agenda for this meeting. The goal of the committee is to report to the council by the end of the calendar year on more comprehensively on the work that's been done. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair, if there are any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Johnson or myself?
No, sir. Stop sharing my screen. If I know how. Okay, I think I got it. All right. And the meetings are open to the public. You should receive, because you're on the community developments listserv, you should receive announcements about them. The next one is May 16th. May 6th.
6th.
I'm sorry. I was just planning the meeting today and I've forgotten the agenda. We'll get it to you.
Okay. Again, this is a diverse committee. You have different members that come from different walks. Actually, we'll make sure that that you're able to, during any announcements, be able to share that. And let you talk about that in announcements. And just remind me if I forget. But yeah, the committee in itself is very diverse. Again, we have members who actually have been affected, that live in DHA housing currently, that have lived in DHA, that understand the process. And what I do respect the most about the committee is that members are speaking their mind. They're not just sitting there and just taking up a seat. And Mr. Johnson can attest to that, especially within the last meeting when, especially when Mr. Scott got up there were questions that were posed to Mr. Scott, questions that were posed to, to some of the PR folks, just about, everything. So I feel confident that this committee is going to represent Durham and have the vision and the scope of those who have the least amongst us, and making sure that there's some equity and equality within that bond for sure, and accountability. All right, Matt, what do we have on the next action item?
Next we have, we were just going to do a brief overview of the CARES Act funds.
Okay.
Reginald, I hope this meets, you just kind of wanted to do a high level summary of the CARES Act funding, I thought.
Yes, no, this is fine. So, we've shared with you what we receive as an entitlement in terms of CDBG, ESG, HOPWA, and home funds. One of the things through the CARES Act that you remember was passed last year, we've been receiving funding as it relates to COVID. And so one of the things I just wanted to share with you, the funding amounts that we have received thus far. And these have to be funds that are earmarked for COVID relief. And some of them we have CDBG, which is related to COVID, and we use that basically 1.1 million, almost 1.2 for emergency rental assistance. So that has gone to DSS, Durham County Social Services, and they've been have distributed that money to help with emergency rental assistance to those persons who have been affected by COVID. Then in terms of ESG, we're going to receive 2 tranches of money. As you remember, ESG is used primarily for those that are homeless and homeless providers. And so we have 602,000. We're in the process of a substantial amendment process to approve that money. And that money, correctly, Matt, has not been earmarked, right?
The 2 million for ESG has not yet been earmarked. We're in
Right.
the process of that amendment.
So what we're doing is going back through the Homeless Services Advisory Committee and subcommittee to look at what's the best way for the system, the homelessness system, to use that money in a way that's productive and wants to build on a system where we can have some lasting improvements. And so we're meeting with subcommittees, and they're having discussions on that and doing some strategic planning. And then the HOPWA was just any assistance. We received $70,000 for that, and we hope to have our contract with our project sponsor sometime this fall to increase the amount of money, and that's also with DSS. So it's a total of just under $5 million. Just over $5.5 million. The things that's not listed here are the additional emergency rental assistance to the tune of $8.4 million that the city received, as well as $1.2 million that the county received specifically for emergency rental assistance that was signed in December by a former president. And that money is being, for the city's 8.4 million is being given to the DSS, and they're working on a distribution program now. We're designing the program, and the program should open up within the next 3 weeks or so. They have to buy a major software system that they're working on installing, but you will receive notices about that as well. So thus the money that we have been receiving via COVID and working to distribute those funding.
There's some questions in the chat, Mr. Johnson. And if you would like to say your question, I can call you. If you would like me to read your question, I'll read it. So Rachel, do you want to pose your question? Would you like me to read it? Okay. Who is overseeing the EHA program with the city? Is that community development or DSS?
So EHA, are you referring to the emergency rental assistance?
Yes.
So emergency rental assistance, the money is awarded 2 sets of funds, one awarded directly to the city and another awarded to the county, $8.4 million to the city, $1.2 million to the county, and it's coming from the U.S. Treasury. And the money that comes to the city, we approved the interlocal agreement with the county, and it's been transferred to the county. The county will actually administer the funds. When it says that we will oversee, we have oversight capability because we are held accountable for the funds in terms of monitoring, but the actual program and the distribution of funds will be through the Durham County Department of Social Services.
Okay, and just a correction, right? This is 2021, not 2020 as far as the program, or is that correct? Matt? What's
20. So what's on the screen is just related to, these dates are related to the dates that the announcements of the funding availability happen. So that's, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's not necessarily relevant. I just put it in there.
Oh, okay.
And so the process that we have to go by, normally with entitlement funds, remember, we have an annual action plan, and then we approve that, we go through the process like we are doing now, and then the grant agreements are submitted to us once the annual action program plan is approved, which usually is about October. With the COVID funds, they let us, if a city has money, we can go ahead and spend money first, which doesn't happen with entitlements at all. That's forbidden in terms of regulation, but they did issue some waivers. And so we're able, that's how we distributed the $1.1 million in CDBG funds in the summer, last summer, because they issued a waiver.
Okay. Ms. Washington, you had a question?
Yes, I did. One of it was the same question that Rachel asked, but then also too, I just want a clarification. For the ESG, did you say, Mr. Johnson, that of the 2.6 mil, 600 mil has not been earmarked?
Yes, the $2.2 million has not. It's in the process now of being discussed between the Homeless Services Advisory Committee and the providers in developing what are the planning and priorities for that funding.
Mr. Johnson, one clarification on that. The 602,383, this amount in the first column was earmarked for rapid rehousing and shelter early on. It's the 2 million. That's the balance has not been earmarked yet,
Right.
but the 600,000 has.
Ms. Washington, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else have a question for Mr. Johnson? I didn't want to hog up questions here.
I can say that we are expecting additional money under emergency rental assistance to come forward based upon what was signed by the new president, but we don't know when that will occur, but that is anticipated.
I guess the question I would have for you is, I think I posed it before, is do we know or have we forecasted how much money is going to be needed for emergency rental assistance once the I guess the moratorium ends? Will we have enough to cover the majority, or we are just really scraping the surface, and the expectation is that there are going to be a lot of folks who might be out on the street or looking for a new place to live, since, if they haven't paid now and the rent is continuing to back up, the rent's not going anywhere. So I was just curious about where the city and the county stand on whether or not we have enough funds.
That's a good question. So we don't know the answer, but I can tell you we don't have nearly enough money. Now, remember, this money that we're talking about, the 8.4 million and an additional, is income based. And so just to keep that in mind. But I can tell you that there's not going to be enough resources to assist everyone who has backup rents. With this program, you can, I think it's go 3 months in arrears. And it depends upon how much money you need to go forward also. And I'm not the one to talk about the intimacies of the program. But if you want to go 1 year for 1 month forward, you can go more months back in arrears. But the challenge here is that it's only going to be able to serve a limited number of people because it's a limited amount of money. But we do, we'll do the best we can. But it's going to be a challenge.
And I guess a follow-up I would have with that is, that's what I was thinking too, that amount of money is nowhere near close to what is needed to help, our most vulnerable, for the most part, be able to survive past this moratorium. And then I'm just concerned about our emergency shelters that we have and it's already backed up based on last month's meeting with, or maybe it was the month before. There's lines of people who are trying to get into some of our emergency shelters, and what is the plan in place, I guess, in working with them to ensure that we can increase the number of beds or housing options, I guess, for folks who might need assistance once we get past these summer months or so, when the moratorium ends.
Well, I don't know that I know the answer to that, Mr. Chair. We can possibly discuss getting some additional information. Remember, two different things. The emergency shelters work with the homeless population. Remember, we had to decentralize those because they had people who are living in hotels due to COVID. So that's one challenge. So the $2 million that I just talked about, one of the things that the folks on the planning committee are working on is trying to decide how we can use that to have increased opportunities past COVID also, but they're looking at that, and having something that more than you're just not dispersing money, but you're also kind of building something or rehabbing something that will have more lasting benefit. But that's still open question, but that is one of the goals that they have.
Anybody else have any questions?
This is Rachel. Thanks for answering that earlier question. I think just kind of a comment that I have right now is I'd be curious to learn more about how the rental assistance is being dispersed right now, who's finding out about the program and how it's being, I guess, communicated. I don't know if there's like different channels that the county is using, or if they're working closely with landlords too to communicate that the funds are available. So I think not necessarily for today, but perhaps at the next meeting, if we could maybe get some more information about how that's being handled, that'd be really helpful.
Okay, well, what I'll do is talk with the county. Hopefully, my prayer is by the time we meet, the program will be underway. There is a massive communication program that will be underway. Program has not opened yet. That's what I was communicating with, hopefully in the next 3 weeks. But one of the things that the city did with the admin portion of the funds that we receive is that we've engaged some nonprofits to help us with challenged populations in terms of helping them to be able to access the web-based portal. It's going to be a web-based portal where one can apply. You don't have to, of course, go into DSS. You can do it on your phone and have most of them information, but will require some uploading of some documents. And we have nonprofits that we have engaged to help with, refugee populations, Spanish, English as second language populations, to enable them to access the portal. But for most folks, they can do it on their phone. But it will be advertised, and you'll know about it. Trust me on that one. And we have had some community meetings, including the landlords, Realtors Association, and had a meeting with about 60 stakeholders, probably about 2 weeks ago, to have a discussion about the framework of the program that we're looking at. And we hope to reconvene that group once the program opens.
Any other questions? All right, move on to the next agenda item. I did want to recognize, I've seen Jillian here and Alicia Smith Freshwater, my favorite Smith, in the building.
Good evening, y'all. Just got off class.
We truly appreciate you being here, and graduation is around the corner for you. I know.
One of my last classes, I was going to say, yes, praise the Lord. Yep. Hey.
All righty. So, other business, and I don't know who's taking that mantle.
Matt, you go ahead, Matt.
Well, no, Mr. Chair, I was just going to say this is just, we just kind of leave that on as a standing placeholder.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if there's any other business, but that's just there for as a placeholder.
I do have a
Yeah.
couple items. I will say that for National CDBG week, we did receive a proclamation from the mayor's office, and we're at the city council meeting. Of course, I thank the Citizens Advisory Committee for their role in accepting the proclamation. And also the last public hearing on the annual action plan was held at the last city council meeting on this upcoming work session. Well, I'm sorry, on the past work session. Last Thursday was the annual action plan that did not have any questions asked, and it looks like it'll be on the consent agenda to be approved. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. So I guess we can go straight into announce. If there's no other business, we can go straight into announcements. Ashley, this is an opportunity for you to talk about what you wrote in the chat.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh no, because I can't hear y'all.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you still hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
It's a little faint.
It's faint. What about now?
No. Yeah, I can hear you.
Better? Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to pass that event information on to you. I posted it in the chat because it's got a link to the Facebook page and the Eventbrite. And basically, it's a equitable engagement initiative. Try to get the community on the Fayetteville Street corridor together at Hayti every third Friday. And it's kind of in response to people, not always feeling welcomed at some of the events that may be going on more centrally located downtown. And so there'll be vendors, and this month they had Al Strong and different musicians out in front of Hayti. So it'll be out at Hayti in the parking lot. And, if you guys could come out, that would be great.
You're on mute, Mr. Chairman.
There you go. Hey, I've been doing the Zoom thing all day. I said, well, thank you, Matt, for putting it on the screen. For those who may not have Facebook, let's please support this event and support our fellow committee member on May 21st if you are available to attend. So if anybody else has any announcements outside of Jillian graduating, we were very proud of Jillian for graduating, even though she graduated from Carolina, but we won't hold it against her. We love Jilly. And so that's my little rib because I'm a Duke fan, so I can't do Carolina thing. But I'm going to just take a personal privilege really quickly. Yes, we are the Citizens Advisory Committee, but we're also citizens of Durham in the county of Durham. And, it would be remiss for me not to shed light on what's going on in Elizabeth City at this point. And we need to make sure that we uplift our neighbors during this trying time. It seems like it's just become an everyday thing, what we see in the news. And we can support law enforcement, or you not support law enforcement or whatever, but at the end of the day, we can never support the killing of unarmed Black men and women. And at this point, it's become an epidemic, and I'm kind of, sick of it at this point. And so I wanted to take a personal privilege to make sure that we bring this to light, because it's upsetting. Because honestly, we don't think it can't happen in Durham. It will happen in Durham, unfortunately. And I think that, we have to do something, whether it's a statement or whether it's whatever, but we have to, every committee that's the city has to, thank you, Jillian, that has happened in Durham. Every committee should make a statement or a stance on supporting our folks up there in Elizabeth City on making sure that we get justice for Mr. Brown. Mr. Johnson, I recognize you from the floor.
Muted, Reginald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to put one of my colleagues on the spot.
You beat me to it.
Wilma, is this your final meeting?
Well, actually, I was just waiting, until the chair finish his statement. And yes, you put me on the spot, but I was ready for the spot. This is my final meeting. To everyone, I would just like to say it has been a pleasure working with you. There are several of you I have not had the pleasure to meet up close and in personal, but I have had the opportunity to work with you via Zoom. The last 12 months plus has been different, I'm going to say, for most of us, but I really appreciate the fact that this group, this committee has been able to persevere. We certainly appreciate your time, your effort, and your energy for the way that you have navigated this process. My retirement will be effective June 1st. However, I will be taking some much needed and appreciated vacation days. So I will be leaving sometime in May, and I will not be with you at your May meeting. Again, I appreciate and respect the work that you do. Please continue the good work, and I will be leaving and with confidence knowing that you will be in good hands with Director Johnson and my fine and esteemed colleague, Matt Snars.
I don't even know what to say.
She may be able to apply for a citizen advisory committee seat.
She might.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Wonderful, fantastic idea.
Full circle. That'd be full circle moment right there. Absolutely. So Ms. Conyers, I can say so much about you. I remember my first time meeting you and getting checked. Real. My very first meeting, and from that point on, I was like, I need to make sure I'm on the straight. Brian, she can have the chair spot. I'll gladly retire, gladly recuse myself from being chair. Ms. Conyers can be the chair of the committee, gladly.
You've done a fine job.
On behalf of every single member of this committee, past and present, we want to thank you for your years of service. We want to thank you for your guidance. We thank you for keeping us straight, on the narrow, and on time. And you will be missed. I will miss you eating turkey burgers, but I'm sure that in your retirement, you'll be eating as many turkey burgers as you can. Professionally chef made on that nice good old Durham city pension that you're gonna receive, and we retirement money. So please stay in contact with us. We will miss you, and it's gonna be different. Now I got Matt and Reggie. I don't even know what.
As Sinatra said, they will do it their way, and they will do it in a manner that will be efficiently and effective. Everyone has their way, and you are in good hands, and so not to worry. The taskmaster is leaving. As a matter of fact, I've already started improving my culinary skills. I'm actually using my kitchen that came with my house.
Well, please leave Matt your notes to keep us in line. let us know. We're gonna miss you. So,
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
it's been our honor to serve with you. I think that was all the announcements.
I just would like to say, Mr. Chair, that on behalf of the Community Development Department, we want to thank Ms. Wilma Conyers for her service. She's been staff to the CAC. I don't know how long, Wilma?
Since 2008.
Since 2008. She's done a fine job, excellent job, and I'm really happy for her. I'm sad to see her go. She's played a pivotal role in the work that we've done in community development. But I understand, that when better opportunities call and you can get a chance to do what you want to do, go ahead on and do it. Life is short.
Go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it.
Absolutely.
Thank
you.
All or nothing but the best. And thank you very much for your service to the Community Development Department in the city of Durham.
So what it sounds like is that we're gonna have to do an in-person where you're gonna feed us in honor of Miss Conyers. And, we talking about the good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? That's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be blessed with an in-person meal.
Okay.
With that being said, are there any other announcements? I hope nobody else is leaving right now. Anybody else leaving? All right. Well, I will take a motion to adjourn, and I will see everybody back here in May. I think May I don't know.
I believe it's maybe the 24th, I
I
believe.
think it's the 24th. You're
It
absolutely
would be the
right.
24th, the week before
Would be.
Memorial Day. Yes.
That's correct. May 24th, we will see everyone. And as always, if you need anything from me, please don't hesitate to reach out, except for money. That's when you go to Mr. Johnson. All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn. This is Alicia.
Thank you, Miss Smith Freshwater, my favorite Smith.
Seconded.
And thank you, Ms. Riley, knowing that we don't need a second. I'll see you all in May 24th. Thank you, Ms. Conyers. We love you.
All right. Thank you. Take care, everyone.